There is a stage full of people who are like morally averse to fun.
Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm Sam.
I'm Tanner.
Welcome to a Mormon video.
Given it 2.5 decades of my life, another decade almost talking about it. What's one more day?
Well, Tanner, imagine if you'd given it 10 decades of your life.
That would be a lot.
And that's the theme of today's video, is that the prophet of the Mormon church, self-proclaimed, has turned 100.
Church is a little over 200 years old. That means he's been around for almost half of the church's existence. That's a lot. My eye is already twitching. Anyone know a cure for chronic eye twitch?
Content pivoting, but that's not for today. Nelson was 54 when the temple and priesthood ban was lifted, aka when Black people were allowed to have equal rights-ish in the Mormon church.
He was already like fully steeped in
baked.
racism.
Yeah, really scary. Also, he was probably 54 when he started thinking about how the word Mormon was a win for Satan. He held on to that.
Yeah, damn.
A king knows how to hold on to a grudge, and we respect that.
The prophets and apostles of this church, their secret to their fountain of youth is pettiness. Hinckley made Russell look like a total fool in 1990 when he said, "Russell, actually, you're kind of wrong. It's totally okay to use the term Mormon." And you know what? Rather than forgiving and forgetting, Russell said, "You know, I'm going to hold on to this grudge for nearly 3 decades. It took him almost 30 years for him to get payback, okay? I just think letting pettiness fuel and grudges move us for centuries more life is just really empowering. And
he was 30 when the Indian Placement Program began, which is the Mormon program where they basically just stole a bunch of children from reservations and tried to make them white, and explicitly said that was the goal, to turn their skin white, right?
Spencer W. Kimball, love that shit.
He was 24 when the last polygamous prophet died. So, also just found this weird. I knew there was an age gap, but I didn't really put it together until this. When he got married to his wife, Wendy, who's his second wife, he was 82 and she was only 56.
Wow, cradle robber.
I find it so disturbing. Like 56, you're like you've got a different quality about you than an 82-year-old. Come on.
But he's the prophet. He's got that je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, but was he the prophet then, or was he a apostle?
Either way, he's a Mormon rock star.
Had she been married before, or was
no,
she?
They have to marry virgins.
Really?
They're all about them virgins.
Even if she'd had a husband who died, she wouldn't have been able to Really?
Yeah, but
wait, I didn't
have
know
to
that.
marry women who have never been married before.
That actually makes sense because of polygamy.
Yeah, I don't know that that's written anywhere, but it is definitely a strict tradition.
Whoa, never thought of that. So she was
Wilford Woodruff did on his birthday. Remember that?
Oh, that's so just pinning that for just 2 seconds. But I'm just like, what? How did 56-year-old Wendy Watson never get married in the Mormon church?
I think probably after you're like 40, you're like, it's because I'm going to marry an apostle.
Yeah, and you just are like in it for the gold at that point.
Yeah.
Or those people that are like, I'm going to marry Joseph Smith in the next life.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's going to be a shit life in this one. Speaking of Wilford Woodruff, such a mouthful. When was he the prophet of the church?
He was a polygamous prophet. He's the one who actually semi-officially ended polygamy because the federal government stepped in, seized all the assets of the church, and was like, you have got to stop this. Utah is basically a sex trafficking hub. This has got to shut down. So he's like, okay, we're stopping. And then he's like, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And then it went on till 1904 when a second manifesto was issued, but one of the last neckbeards to rule and reign.
This was new information to me, but I saw this post on the Ex-Woman subreddit by Doc Creator, and it said, in light of President Nelson's 100th birthday, I'm reminded of Wilford Woodruff's 70th, 71st, 72nd, and 73rd birthday celebrations.
Oh, this was a tradition, huh?
This was old
every
prophet.
year he's like, you know what I like? Birthday tradition.
So basically, every time it was his birthday, he would get sealed to a bunch more polygamous wives in the temple to celebrate his birthday.
Specifically.
Virgins. Well, would they always be back then? Because I feel like they'd take other men's wives if they wanted them. Like Joseph wasn't concerned about that. Or
no, even though in Joseph Smith's commandments, D&C 132, it literally says that his new wives have to be virgins, right? And he broke that multiple times, along with every other stipulation he himself created about polygamy.
Versus letter of the law.
Mormonism, words can mean whatever you want them to mean, especially when you're the prophet. Being the Mormon prophet means you can do whatever you want. So
just in those 4 birthdays, he was sealed to... Oh, actually, I think that might mean in total he was sealed to 267 women. But anyway, this is an excerpt from his journal from 1877. It says, let my servant Wilford call upon the virgins. Oh, there you go. Straight in there. Call upon the virgins, maidens, daughters, and mothers in Zion, and let them enter into my holy temple on the first day of March. What star sign does that make him?
On March? Is he an Aries?
He is a Pisces. Yeah. Splish splash. But basically mass sealings in the temple on his birthday.
And this was back in the day when washing and anointing was a literal washing and anointing. This wasn't
Naked.
just the symbolic
Yeah.
wipe of the forehead.
Mormon prophets, like their birthdays have always been a big deal. They're not Jehovah's Witnessing it but I heard that you're not supposed to sing happy birthday in primary in Mormonism.
Think about the copyright infringement.
Think about
Do you want the
Do you think that's
Jackson
why?
estate to sue you?
Anyway, so naturally the Mormon church, I mean, you kind of do have to go all out for a 100-year-old's birthday, right?
Yeah, I mean, at Lorenzo Snow's birthday, they had a drag queen perform. Brigham Young was Brigham Young's son was a drag queen, who was also like president of the Young Men's Association.
And now he wouldn't be able to work with the young men according to new church transphobic guidelines.
Yeah. How the tables turn.
Yeah. So they went all out basically for his hunt. They did a broadcast because what does everyone want for their birthday but a broadcast they have to attend and sit through?
A meeting. Yay. It's not even a party. It's a meeting. We're going to have a birthday meeting.
No, Tana, have you seen this video?
I did watch the clip.
This is a tough watch, you guys. I just want to... It's tough. This is full cult. Like if you've ever had any doubt that the Mormon church is a cult, like this pulls no punches.
I don't know. I feel like it's pretty lackluster. I feel like they could have gone further. I feel like maybe having a giant effigy of Nelson that they burned a la Burning Man style would be more impressive.
I feel like this is the most fun a Mormon prophet could have in their birthday broadcast. Like I'm even surprised they did I think they did confetti cannons, which just kind of blows my mind.
It's like there is a stage full of people who are like morally averse to fun.
Yes, Dallin H. Oaks is even there, and
life of the meeting.
He seems to be realizing, we'll just watch, but he seems to be realizing that this is all a bit strange. But let's watch.
I love how they have this sacrament meeting style violin playing Happy Birthday.
All right, everybody join in. Here we go.
Is that Joel Osteen?
Happy birthday
Is it?
to you. Happy birthday.
Is he
I
singing
feel like
to
he's
himself?
nearly singing along.
Happy birthday, President Nelson.
Those runs, fit for a king.
Happy birthday to
Mormons don't get to clap a lot in meetings, especially for the prophet. That probably felt good.
Him hitting that balloon was like the funnest thing he's done since sitting on that swing, 8 years ago.
Are they posting memes about it yet? Where they're like, look at him. I love having a prophet who is
He's
so in
just
touch with fun.
so in touch with single-use plastic. The whole energy of that, so tough. And
I think
it
they
made
could have
me
used
feel-
more balloons.
I felt sad for him, but I'm glad he got to hit a balloon. He hit two. He hit two of them.
Oh,
Also, he can't do Lego anymore.
oh,
'Cause
it's
he's
40
past the
to
age cutoff,
99.
yeah.
How are they going to build the model replicas of the temple? So what does he have to show for his centennial tenure? Centennial.
It's a good question, Tana.
Well, he's revealed one of the dankest, most foul methods of the adversary, which is using the M word. No, not that M word. Of course, we're talking about the slur Mormon, which
Mormon.
I barely deign to say on this wholesome broadcast.
I think you're allowed to reclaim it
Okay.
because it was obviously used against you for so long.
Obviously, like when
By
I
your church
myself
system.
wrote
Yeah.
my I Am a Mormon
Yep.
website account profile. So that's good. Glad he took care of that.
Yeah. So it's based on the Ex-Woman subreddit. It seems like people were very much watching the broadcast. Like it was a thing in the church. It was a moment. And someone said, I'm a senior in high school and my parents make me go to seminary or my car gets taken away. Just super normal sentence for anyone in Mormonism to write. Today's torture was all about the ancient Russell M. Nelson. I'm pretty sure it was for all classes in my building, not just mine, because the entire building had decor with his face all over it and posters with suggestions on how to celebrate him. Some were sending a kind message or knocking on an inactive's door. The opening hymn was "We Thank Thee, O God, for a Prophet," which was expected.
Don't harass people for someone's birthday.
Yeah, right?
If you want to celebrate him, get open heart surgery or something.
Class began with a 15-minute long video that was a biography of him. To be fair, he did have a pretty interesting life, with having helped develop the first heart-lung machine and being a heart surgeon in general. The narrator sounded like a child and was all about painting him in an angelic light and only mentioning the better parts of his life. After that, the teacher had us go around the building and pick one of the prompts to do to celebrate his birthday. Seeing as we do this exact same thing around Christmas time, it could easily be defined as worshipping because you're treating a man and Jesus pretty similarly. Ew. Then the teacher had us pack up a cake mix into a sealed box that would be shipped to Rusty himself. Not sure what he's going to do with 120 cake boxes between this teacher alone, but couldn't have those funds be used to help people in need instead? Yes.
You think he lived to be 100 by eating that much sugar? No way.
He's
You're
a
trying to
heart
kill him?
surgeon. His LDL levels have got to be impeccable.
No offense. That's a really dumb idea. Really bad birthday gift.
I know, like dozens and just from this one. And also just a
Why?
cake mix. What's
Just
he
a
going to do
cake
with that?
mix?
He's 100. He can't make a cake.
Think he doesn't have more important things to do, like chastise people for using the M word? Come on.
Someone else who's a BYU student said, I haven't been able to sleep for days now. And tonight I suddenly got super tired. I was pretty psyched and figured I'd go to bed early and catch up on rest. As soon as I laid down, I hear a hymn start playing and realize my BYU ward is playing President Nelson's birthday party on a projector in the grass right outside my window. I could scream. Just like those romantic nights in college where they're like blasting an LDS broadcast on the grass under the stars in the summer.
If it's a party where they're allowed to clap, why couldn't they dress down? Like make it true casual. Why does he have to
Right.
be in a shirt and tie?
He deserves to wear
every
his
time?
like most dream fit for his 100th birthday, not just his work suit.
Yeah, that's like the fun of a party is like, shining.
How often do you think
Peacocking.
the prophet is allowed to not wear a suit? Like, do you?
I think they've gotten more strict about it in the last couple decades, where they're like, if you are in public, you need to pretty much be
I don't know
carrying
where
the
he's-
mantle of the apostleship so nobly and seriously. Even though to me that sounds like the exact opposite of the original intent of apostleship, where he's calling like fishermen and shit to do that. It's like you'd think their ability to like blend in and just be normal, common people would be great, but instead they're all deaded out in their fine twined linens and costly apparel. How much
he's
does an
just like
Armani suit
us. He
cost?
battered the balloon. It's just. I wonder how often he even goes into public for any like non-church business related things. Like, there's no way he's doing his own grocery shopping anymore. I was even surprised that Jeffrey R. Holland was seen grocery shopping in recent years. Just a meme that I thought was funny. This account's been doing some good stuff.
I mean, the church office building is already erected after the manner of penises. It's got
Right.
the,
This is also just really random, but while I was on Reddit, I saw this person linking to a study that said, today I learned that wearing a necktie can reduce blood flow to the brain by 7.5% on average, which is just interesting.
That checks out.
Yeah.
I like tried to wear a thing around my neck the other day and I was like,
Yeah.
so overstimulating.
Yeah.
Could not do it again. Can't believe I did it for so long. It's just like a little noose that they keep around your neck to remind you whose hands you're in.
Even wearing a bracelet makes me feel like suffocated. I can't imagine it.
Oh, same. I wish I could wear rings more,
Yeah,
but
me
even
too.
rings I find
so stifling.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of, just the hero worship of it all, not only did just everyone in Utah go crazy for this celebration, but our actual elected officials were making a big deal out of it. And Utah's governor dedicated yesterday as President Russell M. Nelson Day in honor of him. And he went to this meeting. I don't know whether it was on the day or before. Also, I'm like, who's doing his Botox? Like, not a line in sight in this shot. That nice separation of church and state that we all know and love.
Oh, yeah. Even they use his official title to remind you of who our actual president is here in Utah.
This is just a reminder because I had forgot or couldn't call it to mind. But in Mormon scripture, Doctrine and Covenants 134, it says, we do not believe it just to mingle religious influence with civil government, whereby one religious society is fostered and another prescribed in its spiritual privileges, and the individual rights of its members as citizens denied. I'm like, well, first of all, Joseph Smith didn't even try and keep that either. I feel like that's just probably because when he wrote that, they had no hope of becoming the dominant religion. But then it's like the minute they got a little bit of power, it's like that actually
time to run for president.
Everyone else. Yeah.
Oh, I just saw a clip from some Utah civic meeting, and they were like, wouldn't this effectively put the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which already has like an inordinate amount of influence in the state, as wouldn't that basically reduce all like separation of church and state? And the guy speaking was like, yes, but please don't talk about that. Like was just like, we need to shut that down. That's outside the bounds of this discussion.
Very cool.
Saw a great play the other day, a local cabaret done by the Salt Lake Acting Company, which, it's a beautiful building and a beautiful company. And they had a number in there about Lieutenant Governor Cox. It's like, you're a fuck up, Governor Cox.
Nice. More like
that
that.
was fun.
Yeah. To think about how this all relates to us, people who don't care about Mormonism anymore, just by, well,
I mean, obviously we
it's
do.
complicated.
Here we are making it our full personality. Isn't this great?
Yes. Well, no, we did make a valiant effort last week to not talk about Mormonism in the video, and it got 4,000 views. So we're
It's not
back.
what people
It's
want
not
from
what
us.
you
They
guys
don't want us. They just
They
want...
don't want us. Anyway, it just got me thinking about how important anti-aging is, just kind of as a constant pursuit. We have the number one, or like one of the top, I don't even know what you would call him, like David Sinclair, the guy who's obsessed with anti-aging,
Also an ex-Mormon.
is ex-Mormon.
Yeah.
So I was like, there's got to be something to it.
Do you think Nelson
Using-
has a blood boy?
I was going to say, if David Sinclair has a little blood boy that he's using to live longer, surely Russell would have one.
You
Oh,
would-
he's ex-Mormon.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Nelson's about taking vitamins. Wasn't that his
Was it?
counsel recently?
Really?
Which I'm like, hell yeah.
It depends on the vitamin.
Yeah.
He's like, let me sleep, let me bloat. He's collabing with Kourtney Kardashian.
Did we talk about the word of wisdom last time? Talked about healthy things. Do Mormons... Mormons are always talking about how they're healthier than on average than other people, and there's probably a little something to that.
Let's find out, because I don't
Um,
trust that.
Because of course alcohol's not good for you, smoking's not good for you, and they're pretty much banned across the board there. So I'm sure there's advantages to not that, but they eat a lot of sugar and meat, at least in
Yeah.
my perception.
A lot of sugar and meat.
A religion that's doing better than Mormonism health-wise is a cousin of Mormons that was established around the same time.
Seventh-day Adventists?
Yep, the
They
Seventh-day
are
Adventists.
killing it. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the
Because
blue
they're plant-based
zones,
lifestyle.
one of the global blue zones, which is where people live to be 100 and healthy,
Mm.
is in California, where there's a stronghold of Seventh-day Adventists.
Blue zones, the areas where you get like the most people living to 100, starkly different from Utah, where the air is killing us like 10 years sooner.
Swig is killing us.
Swig is killing us and sustaining us. I just think it's interesting, Governor Cox being like, oh, let's designate this day to Russell M. Nelson. It's like, fix the fucking air. We are begging you. None of us will live to 100. Okay, this is kind of a tough one because basically, yes, it does seem like Mormons live longer, but it's also tough because like Mormons tend to be wealthier. So there's a lot of factors that go into life expectancy. But this says one study found that Mormon males had a life expectancy that was 9.8 years longer than the life expectancy of US white males on average.
Mm.
Women only live 5.6 years longer than the US average in Mormonism.
For the small cost of having no fun whatsoever in your life, you too could live 10 years longer. But maybe there will be balloons at your centennial. Wouldn't that be fun? Think of all the patting them around. I have been watching a YouTube channel called Goopy and Doobie. I forget the name. He was an MIT trained neurosurgeon who, after decades working in the industry, was like kind of realized that he was helping people manage symptoms, but was not actually creating long-term solutions for people's health. And what he noticed is the people who actually got better were people who eat a mostly plant-based diet, spend quality time in nature, and had like low stress, consistent friendships. And that was pretty much it.
Low stress and consistent friendships, or low stress friendships?
Low stress friendships, people like regular people in your life who
Right.
are like contributing and enriching, not just like being a constant source of stress to you.
Yes.
And so he just does YouTube videos of him like walking with his dog out in nature and being like, here's the effect that salt has on your body and what you need, why you need it, iodine and that kind of thing. But interesting, just interesting.
Do you have iodine salt when you use salt?
I used iodine salt.
Yeah, so easy. Such a simple fix.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I've
We're
been-
also coming up on vitamin D season. We're supposed to start taking it by October if we want to not be depressed in the winter.
Yep. Been just doing more anti-inflammatory diet kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
More ginger. I've been putting just like raw ginger cut up
Yeah.
and mixing it. It's so good.
It's so good in food. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
When people asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, I was like, someday I would like to roast president of a corporation for turning 100. And today I'm living that dream.
We're not roasting him for turning 100. I just think his party could have been more fun. I'm like, what's his interests? Does he have any? What does he like? There was no theme. The theme was just
Cake,
like
balloons.
church. Imagine having a church themed 100th birthday party.
Maybe that's what I should do for my next birthday.
You talk a lot throughout the year about the themes of your. Actually, you pulled it off. You did the tannies.
I did. And I originally wanted it to be a broadcast. So I
Mm.
guess relatable.
It'd be crazy if he lived to 101, but people do live to like 104 and stuff.
He might have that dog in him. As a heart surgeon, I imagine he's probably, a little bit more tapped into health. I mean, there's a picture of him getting a vaccine. Wow.
COVID-19.
While wearing a mask.
He hasn't tweeted since like 2021.
Not hanging with the kids.
He's been off Twitter since 2021.
Damn, inspirational. I
Yeah.
wish I was off Twitter since
That's how
2021.
he's lived to 100.
Honestly, getting off of Twitter has been great for my health personally.
Yeah.
I thought about just like fully shutting down our Twitter, but I figured I'd ask you first.
Why shut it down though?
Just to not give Elon Musk the satisfaction.
No, I would keep it. But you don't have to touch it. They're categorizing President Nelson's 100th birthday as a concert on the broadcast tab. It's listed under concerts. And all the best concerts, people were like, in the name of Jesus Christ, amen, after everything they say.
I just, again, really feel like they could have gone harder. An invocation? What kind of party starts with an invocation? They should have had fireworks. Take a leaf out of the MLM books. Have you seen the parties that some of the CEOs of the essential oils companies do here? They come out riding on horses.
Yeah.
And
even the tech
some of
company I
that.
worked at, we like broke new ground on just a building they were making, and they all rode in on like 4x4s. And I'm like, what was the point? Like, we're all supposed to be like, our leaders. So weird.
You think L. Ron Hubbard's centennial was a snooze? I don't think so.
No, that's got me thinking.
David Miscavige, that guy's gonna have a party.
David Miscavige birthday celebration. Okay, in March as well. Also a Pisces. Something about it.
Wow.
Unless there's a cutoff that I don't know about with Pisces.
Twin fish. Fish of a feather flock together.
One of the posts on Reddit. David Miscavige is short. How come no one just beats him up? A good point. I think I could take him, surely. No, he probably does martial arts training.
Yeah. He's friends with Tom Cruise, who does all his own stunts without the assistance of antidepressants.
Prophet and president of the church celebrates his 100th birthday.
It's a major milestone, and they held a big party to mark the occasion.
He has justified his existence.
I love when we have to justify our existence. That's one of the top mental health tips that I resonate with.
He did not just exist.
A birthday celebration 100 years in the making.
I love
They've been planning this for 100 years. Those balloons have been on back order for a while.
Gonna do something we've never seen before, which is sing all the hymns that are officially canonized that we sing every week. I mean, the job of the Mormon prophet is just to be lauded for anything that you do, right? It's just to like show up, give the most milquetoast thing you can imagine, and then have everyone lose their shit. Like that's your job.
Yeah, and he's done it well.
To put President Nelson's 100-year life in some temporal context, we should note that his 1920
He looks so uncomfortable.
was the year a little project called Band-Aid was introduced to the public. They apparently were aware that a baby had entered the world who was destined for a singular...
Sorry, they're saying it was divinely inspired that he was born the same year that the Band-Aid came into the world.
A little anecdote, but that's so dumb.
Jeff. His analogies have gone downhill.
They really have. He's really scraping the barrel there.
The Band-Aid thing. Okay.
or medical career, one that might call for use of those little strips.
I don't think they're using Band-Aids to do heart surgery very often.
I can't believe they put this in the video.
Is this an ad for Band-Aid?
No, it just surgeons aren't just like doing surgery and then like, okay, well, here you go.
Surgeons love Band-Aids.
100 years. It's a number hard to wrap your brain around. President Nelson has seen so much as he raised a family, saved lives as
I literally have tried to think of the number 100 and I literally can't. I get to 99 and then I'm like,
a heart surgeon and led a global church. Today, people from around the world sharing messages of love and respect. People from different parts of President Nelson's life shared a look at their experiences with the prophet.
Sorry, but just like the news just saying the prophet is like a little... It's like he is the president of the church. Just call him the president of the... But saying the prophet just feels a
very
bit
cringe.
much.
Beginning with his great-granddaughter.
Despite serving in a myriad of callings, he has hardly ever missed a baby blessing, baptism, mission call opening, or special family event. Our family has become very large, but he has always focused on us as individuals.
His own daughter.
The principles of love.
How old is his own daughter? About the age of his
Probably
wife?
older than his wife. If he's 100 and Wendy is 74, so their age gap is 26. So yeah, I bet his daughters are around the same age.
Our home was centered on love for each other, on love for the Savior, and on living his gospel.
And church.
One of his kids like suing them for abuse.
Really?
Isn't that a thing? I don't know how like credible the allegations are. I haven't really looked into it. Here's a Reddit post titled "President Nelson helped cover up his daughter's sexual abuse case in 2018."
This is the
his daughter was accused of hosting child sex parties. When these accusations resurfaced and made headlines in October 2018, President Nelson asked the members of the church to participate in a 10-day social media fast. That is one of his favorite moves.
Yeah.
Is like there's like that huge, I forget what exactly triggered it, but like a bunch of women in the church were like being very vocal.
Yeah.
And then he was like, time for the women to have a social media fast.
It's not good for you gals to be on the screens too much. Wait, so you're saying his daughter was accused of throwing child sex parties?
Brenda Nelson.
Do you think that's real, or do you think that's around the like repressed memory therapy craze?
I have no clue, because there is that.
Maybe I'm naive. I just have such a hard time imagining a child sex part. Like what?
Yeah.
Like who's collectively going? I just have such a hard time believing that. The daughter and son-in-law of Russell M. Nelson are being sued for child sexual abuse. The lawsuit alleges that the Mileses were part of a ring of adults and babysitters who sexually assaulted them as children during touching parties at homes in the Bountiful neighborhood.
I mean, there are for sure clusters of Mormons who are up to nefarious things, right? Because Mormonism started as a minor grooming trafficking hub. Like there's no doubt about that. Like the Mormon prophets were literally marrying children.
Yeah.
And when they were first, like the federal government clamped down on them, they're like, wait, we're not doing it anymore. They kept doing it in secret. And then in 1904, they're like, okay, we're officially done. But there's still like lingering elements, so much so that the fundamentalist churches that broke off were like, we're going to just keep preserving this. And then you get the Warren Jeffs of the world.
But for a couple to be so, this person said, this was my home world I grew up in. I read the document written by the mother of the child who brought the allegations forward. And while it seems like something did happen to them, the actual details of the alleged abuse that took place under the Miles family seem to have very little corroboration. Oh, it's connected to Barbara Snow. Yeah, that's the like repressed memory therapy nonsense. It seems like it was pseudo-psychology at its best. Many of her practices have been refuted by the psychological community since. Yeah, that's where my mind immediately went.
Barbara Snow did a number in Utah.
Yeah, and not to say that anything can't happen, but just imagining like a couple, like throwing parties with other couples. I just don't see that being like, even that is like a harder to pull off than like marrying kids as a Mormon prophet. So,
well, maybe that social media fast was much needed.
I mean, it's always good to take a digital detox.
I'm on one now, doing intermittent social media fasting. And it has been really nice.
And world leaders sharing their personal experiences with him.
You have looked me in the eyes, and your clear blue eyes have communicated love. Love.
That's all you have to do to get accolades and in the church is just to look people in the eye.
Always with the clear blue eyes. In the tennis shoes among the Nephites episode we read last week, we learned that Moroni had clear blue eyes, much like myself. It's interesting.
Just the subtle racism coming through always.
Clear blue, pure.
This is so funny. She's like, it was the most touching experience of my life. He just literally looked at me. What a good man.
I was like, okay, I think like what you see in others, you are finding in yourself, girl.
And compassion and mercy and confidence in me, even when I hadn't earned it by earthly standards.
What'd you do? What did she do?
Mercy?
Also, she just seems like if she's talking at this broadcast, I'm guessing she's been a perfect little Mormon woman her whole life. So I'm like, what did you do? Why didn't you deserve mercy?
She had a cup of coffee as a teenager.
Was that his daughter? Who even was that?
I have no idea. Mercy is something you offer to someone in the 1800s who stole candlesticks from your house, okay? Who needed it to feed his family. You show them mercy. Mercy is not something I've ever extended to anyone because no one's ever done anything bad enough for me to be like, here, some mercy. You know, it just feels like a big word.
Yeah.
Feels like something pretty much Jesus. Like that's a Jesus thing to offer.
Right. Like, it's
what
not really
did
on
what
us.
did you do to him that he had to be like, I'm gonna look at you with the most piercing blue-eyed gaze so that you know I am just full of mercy.
It just feels like a tease. I'm like, don't bring it up if you're not going to tell us the story. Like, we have no.
I introduced him as my brother of another mother. And I meant that.
The message is all the same. President Nelson loved all those he met, a message he shared himself at the end of the birthday broadcast.
For each of us, even for a 100-year-old man.
I'm just wondering what the experience is like for Wendy, because she looked like a daughter caring for an elderly father, and that is their age. So I can only assume that's Stein. Are we to believe that they consummated their made love on their wedding night?
I reckon they did.
Like, just what? Because you like have to.
Pretty much when you're wedding the prophet.
But if you're 56 marrying an 82-year-old, I don't know. I know that people can be sexually active right to the end, but I'm like, I feel like 56 is kind of like cutting yourself off pretty early from having the kind of experiences you potentially deserve to have.
I bet as a heart surgeon, he's got good circulation. I bet.
Yeah.
Life passes quickly. My prayer is that you will let God prevail in your life.
It sounds like satire. Do a key change, you coward. I love the news.
I can't see this again.
No. That's the closest they've ever come to like evangelical singing fervor that I've seen.
Oh yeah. They are constantly trying to, mainstream Christianify themselves. They're always like, we're just like you, fellow Christians. We believe in Jesus. We just happen to be the one true Christian group, but in all other respects, we're just like you. So please don't hate us just because we're right. But they have, I've seen the meetings where they've got the more like contemporary music going. If Boyd K. Packer were alive to see this, he would just dust his little shoes off as a protest, condemnation of this tomfoolery.
Can't imagine living to 100. Like, it doesn't seem like it's on the cards for me. I just think 100's maybe too long.
They say the first person to make it to live 1,000 has already been born.
Maybe it's him.
Maybe those the nanobots will make it in there to, correct his DNA before it's his time to go. And then he can be the prophet forever to keep hoarding billions and billions of dollars in preparation for the second coming of man.
I'm just going to predict right now that he's going to die before he turns 101, just because I struggle to imagine. So then Oakes becomes the prophet.
Oof.
And then we enter a new era, a darker new era, maybe even.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oakes is sinister. Well, I've had enough of that.
Yep. That's the Mormon video, I guess.
Did you enjoy the Mormon video? Is
did
this
you
what
think
you
of
get
the
on
Mormon
YouTube to
video?
watch? I hope you enjoyed it.
What should we do next week? Please tell us. Is it like Oakes during the happy birthday? Ugh. Well, if this video is bad and it's all my fault, then I'm sorry.
They just want to see us riff about Mormonism. No one could say we didn't. God, could you imagine if Joseph Smith had lived to be 100? There would have been like battalions marching the street, cannons being fired.
Oh my God.
He would have married 1,000 virgins.
Very funny to imagine Joseph Smith meeting Russell M. Nelson. Like, there's no way you could imagine him meeting him and being like, yes, this man is carrying out my legacy.
Yeah. Let alone Jesus.
Yeah.
Be like, who's this white guy? Who's this white
blue-eyed
guy in a suit? Benson was the real Weekend at Bernie's. He was like completely dementiated in a wheelchair, non-functional.
Yeah.
And they were just like, we thank thee, O God, for a capable and able prophet.
Oh, someone on Reddit said, I'm at McDonald's with my small child and an older man is sitting by himself in the children's play place area reading scriptures. There is not a spot for me to sit where I can watch my small child to make sure she is playing safely on the play place. Why on earth would you read scriptures there of all places?
Yeah, don't you know we're boycotting McDonald's? Ew.
We are boycotting, yeah.
And what the fuck?
I'm glad Wired and the New York Times have done pieces on Tim Ballard this week.
Damn.
Who continues to terrify me more every day. Oh, apparently it wasn't just Wilfred Woodruff who did the bunch of extra wives for his birthday. Ezra Benson also did it.
Wait, Benson? Wait.
Wait.
Oh, the original Ezra Benson.
Oh, this
the Ezra
says,
T. Benson, not Ezra
and
Taft.
his living wife Flora stood in as the proxy.
Wait, which
Benson
one
was
is
the
that?
Secretary of Agriculture at the time, and Joseph Fielding Smith was the sealer.
Wait, is that real?
I'll click the source. We can
Modern
find-
Benson did that?
60 years after the manifesto, Ezra Taft Benson had his living wife meet him at the altar as he was sealed to his cousin.
That's a sentence.
Woo!
Wait, what?
Lindsay Hansen Park posted this, so it's legit.
Oh damn, I love Lindsay. Benson was a piece of work. Full commie scare, said that the civil rights movement was a communist ploy. Heaven forbid people have rights. It's how the commies win.
Yeah, we
Wrote the foreword to the book, The Black Hammer, subtitled Black Power, Red Influence, White Alternatives, just to give you an idea of what he was all about. Took his birthday celebration opportunity. He had one wish when he blew out those candles, and he was like, marrying my cousin, making that official.
imagine telling your wife that's what you want for your birthday, is to marry your cousin in the temple. Ew, he just like all of it one day was just like, I gotta fuck my cousin. I really think what I need at this moment in my life is having sex with my cousin.
That's what you're like. You're close to death. You're like, I could do whatever I want as a Mormon prophet. The one thing I need to make sure in the afterlife is that we get this one right. That is grim. That's really grim.
I'm confused though, 'cause I think it was proxy. Like it was like she'd recently died, and he was like, I gotta marry her. Yeah, another layer of weirdness.
That is fucking weird.
My hot cousin who just died, I gotta marry.
Mormonism is so incestuous.
And then Benson said of his wife, I've never witnessed a more unselfish act on the part of any person, and I love Flora all the more because of it. Weird. Someone said in the comments, is it me, or does it make it sound like Ezra and Eva had a well-known thing going on while she was alive? Yeah, like, it does feel a bit strange, doesn't it?
Yeah. Jamie, could we do some quick research on that, please?
I'm like,
Thank
surely there could have been someone else that could have been sealed to her other than her cousin.
God, that's fucking weird.
So weird.
Don't like it. Don't like any of it.
Why would they care about being sealed to a bunch of dead people just because they genuinely believe in the next life? That
Yeah, he's like, we're going to get this right. We are going to bang in the hereafter.
Oof.
You know, Islam gets a lot of hype about the 70 virgins thing, but Mormonism, virgins-wise, Mormonism outshines
Everyone's
every
obsessed
time.
with virgins, yeah.
You can get hundreds and hundreds of virgins if you're the prophet.
And it's your birthday. All
God,
right.
that's like, it's the equivalent of bringing strippers to like, it's like,
Yes.
bring
the
in my
Mormon
dead cousin.
Ew, you're so right. It's just the same impulse. Just. Okay. Well, we did it. We covered Russell turning 100. I guess
Yay.
we'll check back in when he gets replaced.
What a great use of our one wild and precious life. Hopefully you've derived so much joy and meaning from it.
This is truly what the soft animal of our body loves. Bye, you guys. Good luck with all your anti-aging pursuits.
Do you have any good tips and tricks
Share your
for
best tips.
longevity? Let us
Mhm.
know. Or living a short life, but a really good one. I'm
Yeah.
also open to that as well.
Bye. Bye. Oh, join us on Patreon to support the channel and help us make more content like this or not like this. And also, we're reading tennis shoes among the Nephites there.
And boy, is it a hoot.
Boy, is it. It's funner than this.
Okay, love you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Oh, I'm sorry.